In a universe where gods and mortals coexist, fate has orchestrated an inevitable clash between two legends: Thor, the mighty god of thunder from Asgard, and Hercules, the indomitable hero. Although they hail from different mythological backgrounds, Marvel Comics Thor and Hercules have fought side by side as Avengers for decades. Despite their differing origins, their strength and loyalty to the Avengers are undeniable, and together they protect the world from countless dangers. However, beneath their years of fighting together lies an undeniable, simmering rivalry. But before we dive into the analysis, hit the subscribe button and don't forget to turn on notifications by clicking the bell icon. So, Thor and Hercules, the two iconic legends, have often exchanged powerful blows, not just on the battlefield but also in life, thanks to the stubbornness inherited from the God Kings. Both possess immense pride and frequently find themselves in confrontation, each seeking to prove who is the stronger. This rivalry began long ago in annual Mystery 1 1965, when Thor accidentally arrived at Mount Olympus through a mystical path and encountered Hercules. Their first clash, ironically, erupted over something trivial: who would cross a bridge first. The conflict escalated to the point that Zeus had to personally intervene, forcing both to reconcile and continue on their way. However, Hercules soon became the center of attention, even flirting with Thor's love interest, escalating the tension further. Thor, the loyal protector of Midgard with his powerful hammer Mjolnir, and Hercules, the brave prince who completed the legendary 12 labors, his strength derived not from a divine weapon, but from his unwavering will and inner power that earned him a place among the gods. The next confrontation between Thor and Hercules occurred when the Thunder God returned to Earth from Asgard, only to find that Hercules had begun flirting with Jane Foster, although Jane was merely having lunch with Hercules to make Thor jealous. The act enraged Odinson. The ensuing wrath was uncontrollable, leading to a fierce battle between the two gods. Thor, however, was at a disadvantage, as Odin, the All-Father, had stripped away half of his power as punishment for loving a mortal. Thor was further deceived by Pluto, the god of Mount Olympus, into believing that Odin was imprisoned by Hercules in the underworld of Hades. In his rage and easily misled, Thor attacked Olympus, resulting in a brutal confrontation with Hercules. In Avengers 1963-38, the Enchantress used her magic to seduce Hercules, pulling him away from Olympus and causing him to attack the Avengers on her behalf. It wasn't until Hawkeye intervened, freeing Hercules from the Enchantress's bewitching mind control, that Hercules realized his mistake and was exiled to Earth, where his life would never be the same until Zeus personally intervened, ending the conflict and restoring Thor to Asgard, while erasing both their memories of the encounter. In the 9th century, Thor spent a considerable time on Earth, leading brave Viking warriors into battle against Greek warriors who worshipped Hercules. Despite their future alliance as Avengers, neither hesitated to engage in fierce battles in the past before becoming comrades. On a mission in Asgard, Odin transformed Thor into the mortal form of Sigmund to retrieve the Rheingold ring from the dragon Fafnir. When Sigmund stole another man's wife, Frigga forced Odin to kill his son, but Thor survived in the form of Sigmund's son Siegfried. After recovering the Rheingold ring from Siegfried, Odin revived Thor and erased all memories of his previous identity. Hercules, with his mastery of traditional martial arts and wrestling, often demonstrated his prowess through ancient Greek sporting feats like discus and hammer throwing. His most frequently used weapon was the golden mace, forged by the god Hephaestus Aetneus from divine adamantine metal, nearly indestructible. This very metal inspired Dr. Myron McLean to create synthetic adamantium in the future. Amid the backdrop of the modern city, Hercules, seated on a marble throne carved with intricate detail, presented a stark contrast. His regal presence, draped in the Nemi lion's pelt, exuded undeniable strength and confidence. Hercules' booming voice shook the space, though it only caused Thor to frown, sensing an unusual aura surrounding the cheerful hero he once knew. In his struggle against Pluto, Hercules gathered the champions of Los Angeles. When the Masters of Evil concocted a devious plot to attack the Avengers at their mansion, Hercules and his allies fought valiantly, but even with his extraordinary strength, he was beaten into a near-death coma. Hercules faced all manner of foes, from superpowered villains and Skrull aliens to the covert Hydra organization, and even fallen heroes. Meanwhile, Thor, driven by a thirst for battle, broke the treaty between Asgard and the Frost Giants. Under the guise of Dr. Donald Blake, a limping physician, Thor was banished by Odin to Norway. There he encountered the alien Kronins and was forced to flee into a cave. In desperation, Thor discovered a rough staff, struck it against a rock, and instantly it transformed into Mjolnir, the fateful weapon of the god of thunder. When Loki became a terrifying threat, deceiving Thor on Earth, the god of thunder quickly saw through his schemes. Without hesitation, Thor teamed up with Iron Man, Hulk, Ant-Man, and Wasp to form the Avengers, a powerful force dedicated to protecting humanity. In this lineup, Thor was not only a mighty warrior but also a steadfast leader. Hercules' greatest rival was Thor Odinson, the very friend he deeply respected. Their friendship began when Thor rescued Hercules from a fate of eternal slavery, confirming that they were not enemies but allies. Thor's concern for Hercules was evident, but his tone remained firm and unwavering. Yet Hercules, spurred by some mysterious divine force, did not back down. Then he leapt from his throne, launching a massive punch aimed directly at Thor. After being seduced and manipulated by Amora, the enchantress, Hercules once fought against the Avengers. Though he eventually regained his senses, he could not escape Zeus's wrath, who banished him from Olympus for an unclear journey to Earth. In exile, Hercules remained on Earth and eventually joined the Avengers, fighting alongside them against fearsome enemies like the Triumvirate of Terror, Esteban Corazon Diablo, Dragon Man, Alexei Shostakov Red Guardian, and Super Adaptoid. Meanwhile, Mjolnir, Thor's mighty hammer, not only controlled the weather but also amplified its wielder's power. When spun, it could allow Thor to hover in the air and even open portals to other dimensions and realms, making the god of thunder an almost unstoppable warrior. Hela, the goddess of death and Thor's niece, was a formidable foe, infamous for stealing the souls of mortals. In a fateful confrontation, she left Thor with a scar on his face, punishing him for freeing her soul and cursing him so he could never fully recover. The pain left Thor struggling to lift Mjolnir, but as soon as he managed, Hercules' meteor-like punch slammed into his jaw. The sheer force of the clash between these two powerful warriors shook the battlefield. Just as King Eurystheus of Tiryns had once tasked Hercules with brutal labors such as slaying the invincible Nemean lion, a creature born from Typhon and Echidna, Hercules strangled the legendary beast to death and later used its pelt as armor. In another task, he was ordered to capture the Ceryneian hind, the sacred deer of Artemis. But now, the battle between Thor and Hercules rivaled any of the mythic confrontations of old. Thor, constantly harassed by Loki, his jealous half-brother and nemesis from Asgard, was always ready to face him, whether Loki attempted to steal Idun's golden apples or impersonate Odin. As Thor swung Mjolnir once again, Hercules, with incredible speed and strength, caught the hammer in one hand. Time seemed to freeze as the two titans faced each other, their gazes locked, power suspended for a brief moment before it erupted into an inevitable clash. So, please subscribe to the channel as it helps us immensely and you'll get to watch amazing videos every day. You're awesome, thank you so much. Hercules attacked relentlessly, each blow packing immense force. With a powerful strike, he sent Thor crashing into a stone wall, causing even more destruction as the battle escalated. Clearly, Hercules had the upper hand. Though Thor possessed extraordinary speed and precision, Hercules' raw strength and unyielding onslaught gradually overwhelmed him. Every time Thor attempted to take flight, he was pulled back by a devastating punch. Like Mjolnir, sentient stones rejected the unworthy, and Hercules had used them several times to suppress the god of thunder in battle. Seth, the Egyptian god of death, waged a brutal war against the Asgardians, capturing Odin and imprisoning him within his dark black pyramid. In the past, Hercules had slain the bloodthirsty Lord Kytnos of Macedonia, the son of Ares, and the mortal Pyrene when Kytnos sought to add the skull of a demigod to his grisly temple of human bones, built in honor of Ares, the god of war. The outcome of their battle would redefine their status among the gods. Thor, despite being ruthlessly beaten, his body covered in bruises, refused to succumb to any power that could shake his pride and honor. Rising after the blow, Thor took a deep breath and faced Hercules, his eyes blazing. "You underestimated me," Hercules, Thor challenged. "I am the god of thunder." Instantly, Thor summoned a series of lightning bolts from the sky, each one stronger than the last, with brilliant electrical energy swirling together above. Thunder cracked, creating massive columns of light, all converging on Hercules, who stood firm against the wrath of the gods. In the past, an alien warrior had defeated Thor in single combat. Odin created a new hammer, Stormbreaker, and gave it to Beta Ray Bill. Since then, Bill had fought alongside Thor, the Avengers, and the Fantastic Four in their battle against the mighty Sir Tur on Earth. As for Hercules, after countless encounters on Earth over the millennia, he found himself once again facing Thor Odinson, the god of thunder and legendary Avenger. In a previous battle, Hercules had mistakenly attacked Thor. No storm you summon can compare to the wrath of the gods. Hercules charged, his body moving like an unstoppable force. After saving Olympus from destruction by Typhon with the help of the Avengers, Hercules was granted permission to return to his divine homeland, but the adventure didn't end there. His next encounter with the Avengers came when he was fleeing from the Hunter, a foe so fearsome it made even the Olympian gods tremble. In the end, Hercules defeated the Hunter with the help of Namor Mackenzie, aka Namor the Submariner. The challenges never ceased. When Ares and the Enchantress invaded Mount Olympus, a dark conspiracy was set in motion. Ares, Pluto, and Hippolyta joined forces, pushing Hercules to ally with mortal heroes like Warren Worthington, aka Angel, Natasha Romanoff, aka Black Widow, Johnny Blaze, aka Ghost Rider, and Bobby Drake, aka Iceman. Together, they formed the superhero team known as the Champions. Though short-lived, their impact was significant. Meanwhile, Thor journeyed across the realms, facing all enemies of Asgard and Earth, from the goddess of death Hela to the demigod Hercules atop Mount Olympus. Though Thor and Hercules had once been on opposite sides during the war between Norway and Greece in 1000 AD, after many bloody battles, they eventually forged a partnership and maintained a friendship as friendly rivals, always challenging each other but ready to fight side by side when needed. Thor returned to the Great Hall. Now collapsed beneath Odin's feet. On the throne, Alla gazed at her son, her eyes filled with both worry and disappointment. "You have much to learn," my son Odin's voice was heavy and stern. "Today you tasted defeat." His words echoed through the cold space like a dire warning. When Blake discovered that he was the Norse god of thunder Thor and was reunited with Mjolnir, he continued to serve as Asgard's greatest protector, facing terrifying foes like Mangog, the wicked being who disguised himself as Odin in an attempt to bring destruction. During his reign, Zeus ordered the capture of the Avengers, blaming them for his son's injuries. However, after recovering, Hercules stood up and confirmed the Avengers' innocence, saving them from Zeus's wrath. Later, Hercules fought alongside the Avengers against the villain High Evolutionary and his dangerous evolutionary war scheme. When Thor and Hercules returned to the Black Galaxy, they witnessed the Celestials' process come to completion, and Hercules regained his full strength. Thor possessed the Megingjord, the Jarngriper, and of course Mjolnir. Hercules wielded his massive olive wood club, a sword, the skin of the Nemean lion, and a composite bow laced with Hydra's blood. In terms of raw power and elemental strength, Thor was a force of nature, capable of shaking the world with all his might. He could lift the Midgard serpent Jormungandr. His weapon was of the natural world, summoning lightning and thunder with each strike of his hammer. Hercules had comparable physical strength. He once held the sky for several minutes, but there was nothing elemental or magical about it. In terms of durability, Hercules stood out. He withstood Hydra's breath and only succumbed to its true venom. Jormungandr was fated to kill Thor with just a breath during their mutual destruction. Moreover, Thor lacked armor and relied solely on his attacks, whereas the skin of the Nemean lion protected Hercules from clubs, swords, and arrows. As for transportation, Thor held the advantage. Hercules had incredible endurance and walking speed, but he had no real mount. Thor raced across the sky in his chariot, pulled by his magical goats, Tangrisnir and Tanjastr. In terms of intelligence, Hercules had the edge. True, he needed Athena as much as Thor needed Loki, but Hercules proved capable of figuring out tasks like capturing the Ceryneian hind and the Erymanthian boar, retrieving Cerberus from Hades, taming the Thracian mares, and cleaning the Augean stables. As for weaponry, both were fairly balanced. Mjolnir could shatter a mountain with a single blow, while no living creature was safe from the Hydra's venom, which could even make water boil. However, Hercules had more options, using a club sword and sometimes even a sling when necessary. Similarly, both were skilled wrestlers from cultures steeped in wrestling traditions. Hercules might have the advantage here as he once threw death itself, while Thor was forced to his knees in a match with age. Thor was the king of Asgard, wielding what is known as Odin power, now referred to by some as Thor Force. With it, he could even surpass the strength of Hercules. What do you all think? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you for watching. That's the video for today, and we'll stop here. Thanks, everyone.